That's a big... Okay. So I'm going into it thinking, like, Ghost Lightning thought this was cool. Maybe it'll be awesome. Maybe this will be, like, my favorite show of the season. And so I start watching it. And then it's like, they're in, like, this movie theater watching this gay movie. And, like, the kid's like, I'm a bitch. I sit here and watch the same movie every fucking day because I'm a loser. And the old man's like, hey, bitch loser. Go on break and clean up trash and watch the fucking movie or something. So he goes downstairs and he's in the place. And there's this purple-haired girl. And she's cute as shit. But she already seems like she's fucking useless. And he goes up to her and she's, like, fucking crying. And he's like, oh, hey, and she's like, oh, hey, I'm, like, getting out of here. I guess she didn't like the movie or something. So she's leaving. The guy's like, wait a minute. This is the only chance I have to ever get fucking laid my entire life because I'm a loser. And this girl's a loser, too. So he's like, hey, loser girl. And she's like, oh, and then it was totally fucking awkward. And then she's like leaving, but then she's like, oh no, I just want to stay and talk to you, or something. And then she quotes the movie, as if she cared about the movie. She just said that she didn't care about the movie. It was the first time she saw it, but she knows this quote, like she said it 1,000 times. And so he's like, oh my god, this girl. And then they didn't, like, stay and talk. It's like the next day or something. But anyways, now it's showing this, like, church, and there's this girl, and she's like, I'm a huge slut, look at my tits. And then they're like, you can't be a slut, because we have magical stones that make it so you can't have sex, so you're not allowed to be a slut. And the one girl's like, ha ha ha, I love chastity because I'm some stupid bitch. And then so they were all just like, we're a bunch of girls. And then it was like, guys, and it's like, this cheesy guy with the blindfold, and he's using psychic powers. Then he has this vision, and he's like, fuck, I missed, but I'm fucking cool, so it doesn't matter. And the other guy's like, oh, did you have a vision? And he's like, yeah, I'm psychic apparently, but none of you know about that because you don't watch Aquarion. Anyways, so we're back to the kid, and we're given this hint that he's like fucking astral projecting or something, but he puts shit in his shoes so he doesn't go anywhere, I guess. Anyways, he's with the purple-haired girl, and they're like on their little gay-ass date thing, and she has this little animal, and he touches her, and it bites his finger, and she's like, oh, that's my cat. And he's like, that doesn't look like a fucking cat. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. This girl's fucking stupid. That's not a fucking cat. She's like, oh, I found it on the street. No, that's not a cat. Nobody thinks that way. You're retarded. Anyway, so the episode's continuing, and they're going up these stairs, and he's like, he starts to fly away or something, and then he grabs onto the railing. He's like, I gotta take a shit. So you just wait right there. I'm gonna go take a shit. And so he's on the shitter, and he's putting more rocks in his fucking shoes. And then there's this kid, and he's like, I gotta use the bathroom. And he's like, oh, hang on a minute, I'm putting rocks in my fucking shoes so I don't fly away or something. But anyways, all of a sudden these fucking bad guys are attacking out of fucking nowhere. Just bad guys. And then there's like a control room, and there's like an old guy, and he's like, we gotta fight the bad guys. And the one cheesy military guy's like, yeah, we gotta fight the bad guys. And then the one, the Christian chick's there, and she's like, fighting bad guys. Okay, so they're fighting the bad guys, and there's this robot, the Aquarion, which the main character kid's just like, that's the Aquarion! That's how he knows the Aquarion. Or it was the Aquaria, not the Aquarion. We'll get to the Aquarion. Anyway, the Aquaria's getting his fucking ass kicked, and so the old man's like, we have to do the forbidden thing and use the F1. And you're like, F, this has got to be a super sweet robot. But anyways, it flies out of the sky and shoots a Titano Circus, which was kind of cool for a little bit. And then it's like, oh, it's the chick robot. And at this point, it kind of seems like each robot has 3 pilots or something, because you're seeing their faces on the screen. But then it turns out later there aren't 3 pilots, I guess. There's only 1 pilot in each robot, and then like the other guys and girls are sitting in these chairs or something. But they don't really make that very apparent. So I think this fucking Getter Robo thing is flying in with 3 pilots, and it's like, oh, we're girls, and the guys are like, oh no, girls, and the girls are like, oh, fuck guys, and then they're all like, no, that's forbidden, guys and girls can't fight together for some reason, you know, they might, like, accidentally bump into each other. But anyway, they're fighting this robot, and they do this big tornado thing, and they accidentally bump into each other, and they're like, oh, we touched, this is nasty, ew, we're not adults here, this is wrong. But anyways, a statue falls over onto the main character guy and purple-haired girl. He's back out there. He's done taking a shit, and he goes to save her because bad guys are fighting. And he's like, all right, I'm going to save you. And then the statue falls on both of them, and he's crushed under the statue, and he's like, fuck, but I'm supporting this entire statue with the weight of my body because I'm so fucking diesel. And I'm supporting this girl underneath me who she's just fine. I mean, I don't know why she doesn't just get out from under the rock. He's not, I guess he's crushing her too. But anyways, the Aquarians are getting their ass kicked, and they're like, oh fuck, we're totally useless robots. We're getting our asses kicked, but we can't get along because guys and girls hate each other. And so then the guy's like, I'm sorry, purple-haired girl, but I have to save you with Garthy's wing! And he goes super gold, and he starts flying up into the sky, like, I guess he flies endlessly. We don't know how he plans to get back down or anything. But the bad guy's like, oh fuck, that guy's flying! And then all of a sudden a robot comes out of fucking nowhere, and it looks like a Veritech, or a Valkyrie, whatever. I'm sorry. Give me my... I'm across confused. Anyways, it flies out of nowhere, and he's like, oh fuck! I guess we're in a robot now. It, like, absorbs them in some new type bullshit. And so they're in the new type bullshit robot, and the girl's like, oh, I don't know what's going on, I'm completely useless. By the way, she called them the useless couple, so we already know they're useless. They've already established this on their first date, that they're a useless couple. But anyways, he's flying around the robot, he's like, oh fuck, I remember I had to say this fucking forbidden word, Aquarion. So he's like, I'm Aquarion! And then all of a sudden, the robots all transform, they're like, oh fuck, he said the forbidden word, and the old guys are like, he said the forbidden word, what the fuck, the forbidden thing is happening, and so they all combine, and it's like, gatai, and then all of a sudden there's like this crazy space orgy, and they're all like, we're in new type space, our boobs are flying everywhere, we're having this huge orgy, we're about to burst, ah, and I'm like, there is no way you can conceive this in any other way but crazy new type sex. But anyways, they have this crazy new type sex orgy, but then they're all pissed at each other still. They're like, this is nasty. And the bad guy says, he's like smelling something nasty in the air. And I'm like, that is sex funk, and that is fucking nasty. But anyways, he smells the nasty sex funk of this robot. And this bad guy is totally gay, by the way. He's like this pretty boy, angry beast thing, and he's in this robot that looks cool, but then it like gets down on all fours, and it's like, roar! You thought I was awesome when I was 13. Because that was cool back then when I had a crazy beast robot and he like rips off another guy's legs and attached it to his because he's so fucking cool and he's like a... whatever, I thought it was lame. He like has... all their motions kind of look like me when I was playing with my action figures when I was 7. Is kind of how the robots move. But anyways, now they're in the fucking Aquarion. They're like, the Aquarion is so badass! And then the psychic chick uses, like, the fucking god hand. And it just fucking, Buddhist palm owns these two robots like they were fucking nothing. But then the other robot's like, I'm so fucking badass. And it pins them to the ground with some crazy electrical shit. And then it's, like, on them looking like it's gonna fucking rape them. And the main character girl, everyone's just being a huge asshole to her, because she's just whining and bitching, but she's like, oh no, I'm useless, we have to run away, we can't fight, we're a bunch of useless assholes, and they're like, bitch, shut the fuck up and stop being so lame, why you bitching? So anyways, all of a sudden, her and the main character have this crazy new type thing, and they're both naked and floating in space, and she's like, oh, you want to protect me, that makes you a good guy, you're not really useless, and she puts her hand on his chest, and he goes, her hand, it's so warm and small and soft, and then he gets this, I guess he gets a boner, and then all of a sudden the robot like turns golden, and it just starts flying into the sky, I'm guessing symbolizing his massive erection, and then they cram into a meteor, and the other robot like loses all of its limbs, and then they back off, and the bad guy's like, stupid bitch, bad guy, you have to get back to your bitch hole so we can all bitch together, and he's like, oh, fine, I want to fight and shit because I'm so badass, and I'm gonna go back to bitch land where all the bitches are gonna bitch. So anyway, the Eagles off the bitch land, they're like, oh, we're all bad guys here, we're bad guys. But that doesn't matter. So we're back to the old people, and they're like, they did the forbidden thing, and forbidden shit just happened, but the forbidden shit maximized power, so forbidden stuff, I guess, is good, but we're all kind of afraid of it, because it's forbidden. And then the main guy passes out, because he's a mecha guy, and they have to pass out in the first episode. But anyways, then the psychic guy's taken around, he knows this girl for some reason, but then he's like, this bitch is useless, so we should leave her behind, but the old man's like, but the forbidden shit maximizes his power, so we gotta keep him, and then the episode ends.